I'm Cliff, and this is my garage. Today, we're going to talk about how to remove this rear wing from the Cayman. Hey, welcome back to the garage. And if this is your first time joining me, thanks for dropping by. Before we get started, go on down there, smack that thumbs up button, give me a like on this video, and while you're down there, go ahead and click on that big shiny red subscribe button. Both those things help me tremendously in growing the channel. Another announcement before we get started is that I have finally started using my Instagram page. Now, I've had an Instagram page for years. Never used it because it was just such a giant pain in the butt because you could only post from the app. You couldn't post from your desktop web browser. Now, there were some tools that were supposed to let you do that. I couldn't really get them to work consistently, and so I just didn't bother because I don't do a whole lot of work on my phone. A lot of the photos I take are taken with a digital SLR. And I take them onto my desktop computer into Lightroom and Photoshop to work on them. And so it's a real pain in the butt to then transfer it over to my phone so that I can upload it to Instagram regardless. After years of asking them to do it, they have finally enabled the ability to post from a desktop web browser. So I started using it. Go check it out, cliffs.garage on Instagram. I'll give you a link down in the video description below. I'll be posting in-progress photos, behind-the-scenes stuff, just candid shots of things like track days. Go check it out. I think I've only got like 10 followers so far. Help me blow it up. Now, why would you need to remove the rear spoiler? Well, if you're watching this video, I presume you've already got a reason you want to remove the rear spoiler. This isn't a thing that people just look up out of curiosity. But a couple things come to mind. One, you're replacing this with an aftermarket part. Maybe it's a larger top, a ducktail style. Or what I'm doing, which I'm putting a large ducktail wing mount on here. And it will partially, what it does is it replaces this spoiler here. You might also have to remove, or you do have to remove the spoiler in order to remove the rear bumper cover, or what Porsche calls the rear apron. So there's probably some other reasons why you'd want to do it, but today I'm going to show you how. It's really pretty simple once you know what to do. Now, the first thing we got to do in order to get access to the screws is lift the spoiler into its upright position using the manual control button on your dashboard. Our first step is to remove 7 T15 Torx screws located along this front edge. And the middle ones are pretty simple. There's plenty of room to come in here and use a regular driver. Just where it's kind of hard to get the right angle on these things. And they're also quite short. You don't have to do much unscrewing before they do fall out. Just notice here that it's not a straight in shot to get to these screws. It's way down like this. Now comes the difficult part. The last two are in each corner and you cannot get the screwdriver in position. Maybe if you had a very short driver, you could do this. I just use a regular ratchet and get it started. And then take your socket, or in my case, I'm using a socket, and just use it like a super short screwdriver to pull that screw out. Now that we've got all 7 screws out, just pull the front edge up and slide it backwards, and that cover comes off. Now, if you look down here in where the two struts are at, you'll see a threaded stud with a 13mm flange nut on it. You just remove that, and you just let it sit in there. You don't have to get it out of there. Okay, and then once that's done, you just pick this up And it slides. Well, if you finish taking the nut completely off, it comes right off. And then just, maybe hold your hand on one of them and just flip it over and then get the other one out so you don't lose those. Now that we've got the wing off, just use your manual control on your dashboard to put the struts back down. Well, that was easy, wasn't it? Actually, the most challenging part about this is putting this thing back on, because when you put the thing onto these linear actuators that lifted up these struts, it's really hard to get the flange nut, or actually it's a captive washer nut, back onto that stud down in that well. So the easy way to do this is just drop the nut in there and then use your finger to get it flopped over in the right direction and get your socket onto it, and then put it on here and use it to get the nut started on there. But don't tighten it up a whole lot, because you got to do the same thing over here. Take that flange or that captive washer nut, drop it into it, get your finger to get it right side up, and put your socket on there. And now you can hold it as you put it on here and get this restarted. And now you can tighten these back up. There's a whole lot of take up on that. Let's do this the smart way. Just as before, you just, or not as before, but the opposite of before. Lay it here, get this back edge hooked on here, and slide it forward into place, and then put the screws in. And don't forget to put it back down. If you're going to be removing this and leaving it off and then replacing it with another type of wing like I'm going to do, which attaches to the trunk lid and it actually sits down on here, remember to disable the lift mechanism so that it doesn't come up at 70 miles an hour and punch holes right through your brand new wing or whatever that you're installing. That'd be kind of a shame. So just use a tool like Durametric to simply turn off that functionality. Now, you can go in there and disconnect the linear actuator motor from the car. That will disable it. The problem is that will generate you a bunch of error messages. And so it's much better to use something like Durametric to just turn off that ability where it won't even try to raise it up. That's just a cleaner solution. Now, before you go, jump on over to Instagram, become one of my followers over there. Then come back here to YouTube, smack that thumbs up button, give me a like on the channel, become one of my subscribers, help me grow the channel and produce even more content. And finally, if you want to be kept up with all the stuff I'm doing, DIY projects, my Cayman track car, general maintenance stuff, everything I'm doing here on the channel, go click on that bell icon. That turns on notifications for this channel, and that way YouTube will let you know every time that I post something new from here in Cliff's Garage. I'll see you next time.